Welcome back to another episode of Sports Unlimited, where we dive deep into the exhilarating world of sports. And in today's episode, it's going to be a short one. I'm actually going to talk about my top 10 NFL coaches that are on the hot seat this year. Yes, as you saw on our social media accounts, I did put the 5 of those coaches that are on the hot list. You know, people are questioning, why certain ones there. But that's okay because, you know what? I'm going to explain why. Alright, so prepare for an episode packed with insight, speculation, and excitement. This is Sports Unlimited, and I'm thrilled to have you on board. So let's jump right in. Alright, let us get started. So yes, at number 10, I have Robert Saleh of the Jets as one of my coaches in the hot seat. So, Robert Saleh can be both in the hot seat and in a premium seat at the same time. Why? Because he has the team to be put as a contender for Coach of the Year, especially now that Aaron Rodgers is back. Alrighty? But after 3 seasons with an 18-33 record and no playoff appearances, yeah, expectations are a little bit high, okay? And he needs to be above 500 and at least a wild card spot for him to keep his job. Now, they have improved the offense and the defense, so Saleh has done very well on that aspect, and has done everything to make sure he keeps his job. However, if the Jets underperform and miss the playoffs again, I can guarantee you that both Saleh and GM Joe Douglas could face significant scrutiny if not lose their jobs. It's literally a make or break season for both of them. Alrighty? Because it's really, you've done everything right in the offseason. There's no reason why they shouldn't be, 1, above 500, and 2, at minimum, a wild card spot. Alrighty? But we'll have to wait and see what happens. At number 9, I have Brian Daboll of the Giants. So, year 1 for Daboll was terrific. They made a playoff spot. They actually played pretty well, pretty significant, and it was great. Everybody thought that now they were moving forward. But then year 2 came, and it was a shit show. It was a shit show. Come on, guys. You all know it's true. Alrighty? What are they doing in year 3? Well, the Giants said, hey, let's spend millions of dollars on our offense and our defense to see if they can get better. Instead, what they did was spend millions of dollars on Daniel Jones. Sort of got better on defense, but an offense is still questionable at best. It's bottom tier. Let's be serious. Brian Daboll needs a freaking miracle to keep his job past this year with the way things have been going. Now, since he did well year 1 and with the admission of the Giants ownership saying that they have screwed things up with Daniel Jones from the beginning, he may get an extra year after this, but if it's anything like last year went, yeah, no, he's not going to have a job after this year. At number 8, I have Sean McDermott of the Bills. So, Sean McDermott's coaching career has actually been pretty good. Alrighty? And some have actually compared it to Andy Reid's earlier years with the Eagles. He had regular success, consistent regular season success, a strong locker room culture, but they were just never able to reach the Super Bowl. Alright, now, Andy Reid did make the Super Bowl one time with the Eagles, but we know what happened there. Now, given his track record, it is unlikely Buffalo will fire him after this year. No, and they may not consider it. No, they're not teams that are just going to say, okay, let's just move on. Because in reality, I don't see any real big coaching hires that could happen, unless they bring in maybe Bill Belichick. But who knows if he'll want to continue into next year. Maybe he's doing really well with his, being a being with the news and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But McDermott's team McDermott's teams are actually good. Alrighty, they have reached the AFC title game. They have had MVP caliber playing from their quarterback Josh Allen, and they have overhauled the roster this season. So, although his long-term future with the Bills is quite uncertain, his more short-term, I firmly believe that he's probably going to be here next year. Do not be surprised, though, if some big names are starting to come up that people want. They may decide to let him go. But if it's a bad start to the season for the Bills, ownership may decide to just cut the cord early. We'll have to wait and see. At number 7, I have Dennis Allen of the Saints. So, the New Orleans Saints are by far one of the most interesting teams in the NFL this year. All right, they're a long ways away from the dreamy days of Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Alrighty, and now they're struggling for success. Alrighty, put it this way: since Sean Payton retirement in 2021, Dennis Allen has had a 16-18 record. He has had 3 different quarterbacks, and no form of successor from Drew Brees. And even signing Derek Carr in free agency, the Saints still missed the playoffs, finished 9-7. And they don't have a top draft pick to secure. They didn't have a top draft pick to secure a franchise quarterback out of last year's draft, which was loaded with great quarterbacks that they could have used. Now, there are rumors suggesting that Dennis Allen not only has lost their locker room, but has also lost the trust of ownership. Hence why this year is very important for him. If he can bring everybody back and succeed, win their division, it's a very winnable division, if I may add, he could stick one more year. But if it's another missed playoffs, barely scraping over 500, his tenure with New Orleans could be at an end or nearing an end, depending on how they do. And even then, if the rumors are true that he has lost the locker room and has lost the trust of ownership, his tenure with New Orleans is going to come to an end sooner rather than later. At number 6, I have Doug Peterson of the Jaguars. So most of you are probably thinking, well, why Doug Peterson? I mean, he's done pretty good for himself. Well, he does have a 42-37-1 record and has won a Super Bowl in 5 years with the Eagles. So his record is pretty good. And is 18-16 in 2 seasons with the Jaguars. Which is, okay, it's not great, but it's not bad either, like some of these other coaches. So again, you're asking, why is he on this list? Well, let's look back at it. They have fallen short of the AFC title expectations last season with the 9-8 record and missing the playoffs. When the year before that, they actually made the playoffs and were actually about, I believe, 10-7, somewhere around there. Okay? They just paid Trevor Lawrence, quite a lot of money. And they got a new defensive coordinator in Ryan Nelson. Alrighty? So, he's overhauling everything. He's doing everything possible to try to keep moving. But he's not showing the success he had with the Eagles. Alrighty? If the Jaguars fail to reach the postseason again and struggle to fewer than 6 wins, and I'm even going to say struggle to fewer than 9 wins, I think Shad Khan might consider making a change at the head coaching position. Now, I'm also kind of stretching it a little bit because Shad Khan is a very tolerant uh, owner, and he's willing to deal with the bullshit. You know, given that Doug Peterson needs some more time to develop the culture and get everybody going, especially given that now Trevor Lawrence actually has a solid contract. They have a new defensive coordinator, so hopefully that scheme gets put in there, and they've added some more weapons. Again, Shad Khan is a very patient owner, but failing to make the playoffs and the title game when just recently they were just there is gonna be a wonder what's gonna happen. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, he's still in the hot seat. He has to be successful at minimum for him to keep his job for at least one more year. He has to be way above 500, so 10 wins minimum, and make the playoffs. I think if they make the playoffs, his job is safe. If they don't make the playoffs, but they still have 10 wins, his job is probably safe. But don't be surprised if somebody worth going after gets, you know, gets open and they go after him. Just saying. We'll see. Or if they have a really bad season, maybe Shad Khan will just fire him mid-season. We'll have to wait and see, of course. At number 5, I have Todd Bowles of the Buccaneers. So this one was actually very hard for me to do because I firmly believe that Todd Bowles has done pretty well with the Buccaneers. Alrighty? He's still winning. He still has a very good record. Alrighty? No, he keeps winning the NFC South with no Baker Mayfield at the helm, which some of us thought he was done. Alrighty? His defense is actually decent. He has a great wide receiver core, and after everything that happened with Tom Brady, I mean, it could be worse, and he's actually doing quite well. And I think, if I recall correctly, he's had double-digit win seasons back to back. So you're asking, no, he's almost had double-digit seasons back to back, which is, again, you're asking, well, given everything that's going on, why is he on the hot seat? Well, again, he needs to continue succeeding. It's not up to the success that they've had when Tom Brady was there, where they won the division, they made it to the playoffs, they made it to the Super Bowl. No, they were consistently good. Okay, they were a powerhouse. No, I firmly believe that Todd Bowles needs not only for him to keep this job after this year, he needs to win the division again, which is quite possible depending on what happens with the Falcons, all right, which are their biggest rivals at the current moment. He needs to have success in the postseason, and I'm not talking about they make it to the postseason, but he needs to win at least one game in the postseason, get double-digit win season, and then potentially he'll be able to be given another chance to repeat that the next year. If he misses any one of these three, because he needs all three to stay in his job, they're gonna say goodbye to him. The other benefit that I think that Todd Bowles has right now is that, again, like earlier, I don't believe that there's a lot of talent out there to justify them firing somebody that's consistent like Todd Bowles and go after a new guy. Now, could this change throughout the season? Of course. No, talent shows up all the time, and you can see it. But again, if no big talent is out, or worth talent, in my opinion, comes out, then Todd Bowles will more than likely keep his job, even if he misses one of these three targets. But if there's a defensive coordinator, like, hey, everybody's talking about this defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator or this coordinator to become the next head coach, or a big name gets fired, say, no, Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh gets fired. No, you don't be surprised if they say, you know what? If you don't make this marks, we're gonna let you go. And we're gonna go after a veteran. No, or what if Bill Belichick says, hey, I want to come back to play now, to coach? Maybe they go after him. Depends on what happens with this TV job. Still, we're gonna have to wait and see. Although, the Bucks should be happy. They have a consistent success with Todd Bowles. So, it's kind of like you want consistency, you want Super Bowls. That's where you're at with that. At number 4, I have Matt Eberflus of the Bears, and I hope I said that right. Eberflus. Yeah. So Chicago once again took to the offseason and they got a fresh start. Alrighty? And I think they did a very good job in this offseason. Yes, they got Caleb Williams at quarterback with the number 1 pick. And again, I'm not a big fan of Caleb Williams, but I cannot deny the fact that he did play very well in his first 20 snaps. I believe it was 20 snaps in the preseason game this last week. And so I think he did very well for himself and could potentially be something. Alrighty, they went and got two other great wide receivers in the wide receiver out of Washington, which I can't think of his name. You got Keenan Allen, and they re-signed DJ Moore, which is great. Alrighty for him. They upgraded the offensive line. They got a solid running back core. They got a great defense. No questions on the secondary and into the safety position, but nothing that can't be, a little overhaul, a little work here and there to make it better. So, did they get the fresh start they needed? Yeah, I think they did. However, though, the big aspect here is that the offense has done great. The defense must show that they are taking the improvements that they had late last year into this year. Alrighty. General Manager Ryan Poles has done a lot to bolster this team, not only with talent, but with veterans that have experience. Alrighty. So Eberflus really has everything he needs to have a really, really solid season this year. Now, you still have a rookie quarterback to deal with and everybody to mesh, but the talent is there. Alrighty, Eberflus needs to lead the team into the playoffs, or at least playoff contention, and have Caleb Williams developed effectively, to be able to say, hey, this was a successful season. Especially now that he basically revamped his whole last year's staff into a new one. Alrighty, I firmly believe that he needs to have at least 10 wins this year. Let me more right. He needs to have at least 8 wins this season and, not be at the bottom for him to keep his job, because he's only had 10 wins in the last 2 seasons. So his stakes are high to keep his job if he doesn't deliver. But now with everything they've done, you give him the benefit of, hey, you have a rookie quarterback. He doesn't know. Let's give you a benefit of the doubt. So that's why I say anywhere between 7 and 9 wins. It's more than generous for them. Alrighty. And then on top of that, if the defense can improve, can make the game competitive, he'll keep his job. If none of that happens, or even if Caleb Williams does not look like he's evolving from game to game, he will not have a job next year. Plain and simple. At number 3, I have Kevin Stefanski of the Browns. So Stefanski has a pretty solid record with the Browns of 37-30 in 4 years with the Browns. All right? So that's pretty good compared to some of their other coaches. However, though, following that 11-5 playoff debut in 2020, they've had a disappointing 15-19 stretch. Alrighty, and he was already under pressure last year. But because Nick Chubb went down, the quarterback situation with Deshaun Watson, they were kind of like giving him, hey, we'll give you one more year. Now, they do have Deshaun Watson, back 100 out of 100, well, supposedly at 100%. and they need to, and they have Nick Chubb back too, and everybody's healthy. So in theory, they should rebound to 11-6. Thanks, especially because of the top tier defense that is led by Jim Schwartz. Alrighty, now the AFC North is a gauntlet. Okay, the Bengals and Joe Burrow are dealing with injuries and everything, but he's still Joe Burrow. The Steelers, although having quarterback issues, are still the Steelers and have never had a below 500 season, and they're always in the mix for the division. And of course, the Ravens just stacked themselves up, and with Derrick Henry amongst others, it's gonna be hard for them to win the division. However, though, making the playoffs although challenging, should be something that they can do with the defense that they have and a solid offense. Now, they do have one of the league's most demanding schedule this year, so it's gonna be hard for them, but it's not impossible. The question lies is if Stefanski has another year setback, it could really be his last year. Alrighty, and then especially after that loss last year to the Texans in the wildcard round, I'm sorry, he needs to have a successful season. At minimum, double-digit wins, making it into the wild card round, and then getting out of it and maybe into the divisional round. I firmly believe they're not gonna win the division. The Ravens have that unlocked this year for sure, but again, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for them, plain and simple. At number 2, I have Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. So, Nick has one of the most impressive win percentages in the NFL with the .667, which ranks third amongst all NFL coaches. So, he knows how to succeed. He has led the Eagles to 3 playoff appearances in as many years, including a Super Bowl showdown with the Chiefs 2 years ago, or no, not 2 years ago. I was in Hawaii when that game happened. So yeah, maybe it was 2 years ago. However, though, finishing last year at 1-6 and basically handing the division to the Dallas Cowboys was arguably one of the worst things that could have happened for him. On top of that, they had the second worst postseason loss last year in the postseason. First was the Cowboys. Alrighty? All this really put a damper on his job. Alrighty? We all know that. His staffing decision and outspoken personality have had a lot of criticism and have left bad taste on a lot of people. And despite these setbacks, Sirianni has returned once again and tried his best to reload the roster and add new coordinators like Kellen Moore. Still, though, the expectations are very high for Sirianni and the Eagles. That honestly, it's almost surprising that he would still be at the helm after this year. I mean, basically, the only way he's keeping his job after this year is if at minimum he makes it to the NFC Championship. At minimum. Like, we're not talking about, oh, you win the division, congratulations. Because they're probably going to win it. Right? The NFC East hasn't had a back-to-back champion since 03 and 04 with the Eagles. So, let's be serious. They're probably going to win the division. Alrighty? The NFC is kind of weak right now. So, they could get into the divisional round and face an easy opponent to be able to continue and maybe make it to the NFC Championship. But if he doesn't make it to the NFC Championship, he's going to get fired. And depending on how they do in the NFC Championship, Ooh, he may not even have his job then. I firmly believe that the only way to 100% secure his job, secure another year, is winning a Super Bowl. That is the only way for Nick Sirianni to have another year with the Eagles. Otherwise, good luck. And of course, at numero uno, I have Mike McCarthy of my Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, you knew he was going to be on this freaking list. Look, Mike McCarthy's 4-year tenure with the Dallas Cowboys has been marked by success in the regular season. All right, we've had 3 consecutive 12-5 record wins. Alrighty, and 2 NFC East titles. That's freaking great. Where the problem lies is, look what happened with the consistency of faltering in the playoffs. Alrighty, we've only had one playoff victory since he's been at tenure, and since it's been nearly 3 decades since the last NFC Championship appearance. The pressure's on McCarthy. I mean, I was a year old when the Cowboys were the last time they were in the. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was 1995. So I was 2, 3, 4. I was like 4 or 5 years old. The last time they were in the NFC Championship. Like, I was a kid. The pressure is mounting for McCartney to deliver not only a double digit win season, not only an NFC East title, but a deep playoff run that Jerry Jones so greatly craves and needs. Alrighty? Especially after that 48-32 loss to Green Bay with one of the best squads that they have built in the Dallas Cowboys. It was fucking ridiculous. Alrighty, his future, Mike McCarthy's future, hinges on just like Sirianni is making the NFC Championship in 2024. If he doesn't make it, he will not be here the next year. He already doesn't have a contract renewal, so he needs it. And what's not helping him is that they had a very quiet offseason when they shouldn't be. They should have been making moves. And they lost players like Tony Pollard, amongst others. Mike McCarthy right now could have saved his job a little bit had he at minimum made some waves in the offseason. But instead, he decided to stay quiet. And now, the only way his job is saved is if, 1, they make it to the NFC Championship, 2, they win said NFC Championship, and 3, make it to the Super Bowl. Now, if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, I think Jerry Jones would probably give him a break and say, all right, at least we made it to the Super Bowl. I'll give you another year. He'll give him 3 years and a new contract if he wins the Super Bowl. But if he doesn't make it there, if he doesn't have double-digit wins, no season this year, which nobody has him winning double digits, not even me, or an early exit in the playoffs, he's going to be gone. Watch. But that's my top 10 coaches in the hot seat. So let's go to our last thing. Thank you. And yes, that is all the time that we have today. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. No, I truly believe that these are the top 10 coaches on the hot seat. And I'm sure there's a couple more that you can put on this list. But these are the ones that are like really, really on the hot seat. Alrighty? So, thank you for joining us on a journey of speculation, analysis, and excitement. If you enjoyed today's episode, as always, guys, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback is invaluable as we continue to bring you the latest and greatest in sports. This is Hershey, signing off from Sports Unlimited. Until next time, sports fans, stay passionate and see you next time. Bye-bye.